If you're into making videos, whether for TikTok, YouTube, or just for fun, you've probably heard some weird video editing words that make you go, wait, what? Hey, what's up, friends? My name is Regodos, and I'm a motion designer based in the Philippines. Today, I'm gonna break down commonly used video editing terms that you should know if you want to step up your editing game. And don't worry, I'll keep it super simple. Before we jump in, here's a quick heads up. Knowing these terms isn't just about sounding cool. It actually makes editing way easier and more fun because you'll understand what's going on behind the scenes. Plus, you'll get the hang of those editing apps faster. So grab your favorite snacks, take down notes, and let's get rolling. First up, the timeline. Think of it like your video's storybook. It's where you drag and drop your clips, audio, and effects in order to tell your story. Imagine a long strip that shows all your video pieces in the order you want them to play. You'll be working here the most. A cut is like using scissors to snip your video. It's when you split a clip into two parts so you can remove or rearrange pieces. It's one of the most basic but powerful moves in editing. Ever noticed how videos sometimes slide or fade from one clip to another? Those are called transitions. They make your video smoother and cooler instead of just jumping from one clip to the next. A common one is a fade to black or cross dissolve. A cutaway is when you quickly switch from your main video to another clip to show something else, like zooming out to show the environment or someone's reaction. It keeps your video interesting and gives context. A-roll is B-roll's partner. That's your main footage, usually the star of the show, like me talking directly to the camera or the key story you want to share. Think of A-roll as the foundation of your video, and everything else, like B-roll, just supports it. For example, if I'm explaining skateboarding tricks, the A-roll is me talking about them, while the B-roll is those cool clips of tricks and skateboards rolling around. Okay, so if A-roll is me talking directly to the camera, sharing information, then B-roll is quite literally everything else. It's the visual storytelling that supports your main narrative, like close-ups, different angles, or cool shots that help tell the story. Color correction is all about fixing your video so it looks natural. Let's say the lighting was weird when you filmed. Maybe everything looks a bit too blue or too dark. Color correction helps you adjust the tone, brightness, and colors so it matches how it should look in real life. Now, color grading. This is where you get creative. While color correction fixes things, color grading gives your video a vibe. You're adjusting colors, contrast, white balance, and exposure on purpose to create a specific mood. Want it to feel warm and cozy or cool and dramatic? That's color grading doing its thing. Aspect ratio is the shape of your video. Like, is it wide like a movie, or square for Instagram, or tall for TikTok? It matters because you want your video to fit perfectly on the screen where you're sharing it. Dimension refers to the actual width and height of your video, measured in pixels like 1920 by 1080 or 1496 by 2160. It's kind of like aspect ratio's cousin. While aspect ratio is about the shape, say vertical for YouTube Shorts and TikTok, square for Instagram, dimensions are the exact size of your video frame. You can set your dimensions when you're filming through your camera or adjust them later in editing, especially if you're cropping or resizing for different platforms. A keyframe is like a marker you set to tell your video, hey, start changing here. For example, you can use keyframes to make an image slowly zoom in or fade out over time. Chroma key or green screen is a fun effect where you film someone in front of a green background and then replace that green with any background you want, like outer space or a beach. It's like magic for videos. Crop means trimming the edges of your video to focus on the important part, like zooming in but cutting out the rest. Handy when you want to get rid of distracting stuff around your main subject. Frame rate means how many pictures or frames your video shows every second. Most videos are 30 frames per second. We call that FPS. But movies sometimes use 24 FPS. Higher FPS means smoother motion like slow-mo videos. A jump cut is when you remove a small part from the middle of a clip, making it look like the person or object suddenly jumps forward in time. It's often used to speed things up or give the video punchy, energetic vibe, even for comedic effect. Sometimes jump cuts are intentional, but if they're not done right, like when the camera angle stays exactly the same and the subject's position suddenly shifts, like a head snapping to a new spot, it can look glitchy or awkward. So it's a stylistic choice, but you gotta use it carefully. A cut in, also called an insert shot, is when you break away from the main scene to zoom in on a specific detail, like someone's hands opening a letter or a close up of an object. It's usually a tight, close up shot that shows your audience exactly what they should be paying attention to. You often hear directors say something like, let's cut into that, which just means zoom in on the important part. An overlay is when you add a second video, image, or text on top of your main video. For example, adding subtitles or funny emojis over your video is using overlays. A lower third is that little text box or graphic that pops up near the bottom of the screen, usually to give extra info. You've probably seen it in interviews where it shows the person's name, job title, or location. It's called a lower third because it usually sits in the lower third portion of the frame, simple, clean, and super helpful for your viewers. Pacing is all about the rhythm or speed of your video. Is it fast and energetic or slow and dramatic? You can control the pacing with things like editing cuts, music, voiceovers, and how the script is delivered. Good pacing keeps your audience engaged. It's what makes a video feel snappy or gives it room to breathe. Post production, also known as simply post, is everything that happens after you're done filming. This is where the magic really happens. It includes editing your footage, adding sound, music, special effects, color correction, and even combining animation or graphics. Basically, it's all the behind the scenes work that turns raw clips into a polished final video. Resolution is the number of pixels packed into each frame of your video, basically how sharp and detailed it looks. Common resolutions are 1280 by 720, which is 720p HD, 1920 by 1080, that's full HD, and 3840 by 2160, also known as 4K. Generally, the higher the resolution, the better the video quality. But remember, it's not just about the pixel count. Lighting, camera quality, and compression also affect how crisp your video really looks. Compression is when you shrink the size of your video file, usually to save storage space or make it easier to upload and stream online. Smaller files load faster and play more smoothly, especially on slower internet connections. When you export your final video, you'll often get the option to compress it. There are two main types. Lossy compression cuts down file size by removing some of the original data, which might slightly reduce quality. Lossless compression keeps all the important visual data and only removes things like extra metadata so the quality stays the same. It's all about finding the right balance between the file size and video quality. A rough edit or rough cut is your first full version of the video, kind of like the draft before the final product. It includes all the clips in order, which basic cuts and edits, but things like music, effects, and fine-tuning aren't polished yet. It's super useful for reviewing the overall flow, and it gives your team something to watch, give feedback on, and improve from there. Split screen is an effect where you show two or more video clips side by side in the same frame, either split vertically, horizontally, or even into a grid. It's a cool way to compare scenes, show different perspectives, or have multiple things happening at once. Most of the time, it's just two clips playing at the same time, but you can definitely get creative and use more if the story calls for it. A storyboard is like a visual game plan for a video. Before you even hit record, you use it to map out your scenes, kind of like a comic strip version of your project. It can include sketches, images, and notes that show what each shot will look like and how the story will flow. It's super helpful during filming and editing because it keeps everyone on track and makes sure you're sticking to the original vision. A shot list is like your video's shoot to-do list. It's a detailed checklist of every single shot you need to capture, including camera angles, movements, lens choices, and even notes like close-up of hands or slow pan across the room. It's different from a storyboard, which shows the visual flow of the story using drawings or images. While a storyboard is more about how the video will look, the shot list is about how you'll actually film it. Together, they're like the ultimate planning duo. Storyboard for the vision, shot list for the execution. Sync, short for synchronization, is when your video and audio line up perfectly. Like when someone speaks and you hear their voice at the exact same time their mouth moves. If your audio and video gets out of sync, it can be super distracting, like when a voice comes in too early or too late. So, keeping everything in sync is key to making your video feel smooth and professional. Time-lapse is a creative technique that makes time looks like it's moving super fast. It works by capturing frames at a slower rate than normal and then playing them back at a regular speed. So, what normally takes hours, like a sunset or a busy street, happens in just a few seconds on screen. It's perfect for showing the passage of time in a visually stunning way. Video editing software is the tool you use to bring your footage to life. It's where all the cutting, trimming, adding effects, color correcting, and exporting happens. When you're editing a YouTube vlog or a short film, you need a solid editing program to make it all come together. There are tons of options out there, depending on your skill level and style, like Adobe Premiere Pro, Final Cut, Sony Vegas, or CapCut. Audio ducking is when your background music lowers in volume automatically when someone is talking, so you can clearly hear the voice without the music blasting over it. SFX or sound effects are the little audio details that make your video feel more real and immersive, like footsteps, door creaks, whooshes, or even that classic ding when something pops up on screen. You usually add them in during editing to match what's happening visually or to create a certain mood or impact. Without sound effects, your video might feel flat. With them, it comes to life. Render sounds fancy, but it just means your computer is putting everything together, your video, effects, and sound, into one smooth final video file while you can watch or share. Once you finish your masterpiece, export is the step where you save your video file in a format you can share. Think of it like packing your edited video into a box so you can upload it to YouTube or share it with friends. Now, quick side note, you might have heard people mix up render and export. They're kind of similar, but they're not exactly the same. I sometimes use these terms interchangeably and gets confused with these terms too. Let me break it down real quick so you don't get confused too. Rendering is like your computer doing the behind-the-scenes work, process your video so you can preview it smoothly in your editing software. Keyframe is inside your editing software. Think of it like baking the cake layers before you put on the frosting. Exporting, on the other hand, is when you save your finished video out of the program. Key term is outside of the editing software, like putting your cake in a box ready to share or deliver with friends. Knowing these video editing terms means that you won't be that person who just smiles and nods when your creative director or client throws editing jargons at you. Instead, you'll actually get it and feel confident doing the work. And hey, this is just the beginning. The more you practice, the more second nature this stuff becomes. Having the right language in your toolkit makes all the huge difference. If this helped you out, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe for more editing tips, and drop a comment if there's a term you're still confused about. Once again, I'm Regodos, and I'll see you on the next one.